Hey guys, welcome back to Adventures with Rosy. A while back we asked if anyone had any questions for us and we got sent in a whole big bunch of them, so we thought today we would get some answered for you.
Alright, welcome back to Adventures with Rosy, and welcome to part 2 of the answers to your questions. If you missed part 1, I'll link it below, a question you asked maybe in part 1, so check that out. We actually forgot one question that Rebecca asked, and that was, what does a typical day look like?
Depends on where we are and what we're doing. Some days look very different to others if it's a travel day compared to a chores day where we're doing the tanks and laundry and that kind of thing, compared to an adventuring day. But it usually starts off quite early. Usually we have Harvey coming in, waking up the girls because he wants to play with them, waking us up because now all 3 kids are up. We get the kids fed and changed and then try and get out the door to go do something outside.
Yeah, with us all being in the same room essentially, there is no avoiding all of us getting up at the same time in the morning.
No.
One of us can try and lie in bed, pull the blankets over our head as much as we like, but it doesn't, you don't ever go back to sleep.
And then it's kind of just juggling the kids between us to try and get done what we need to.
Yeah,
and everyone up and out the door. I
guess we've kind of got like, we'll often try and get breakfast, get dressed, get out and do something because, well, the girls are on solids now, so they'll normally have a lunchtime, and they'll normally have a sleep in the morning and then a sleep around lunchtime or early afternoon, so we try and time things with those sleeps. We have to do dinner or bottles with them before 7 o'clock, I'd say, eh?
Yeah, around 7 o'clock. So we've got to be in the caravan at 7 to heat the water.
And we've actually got to try and feed ourselves and feed Harvey before we need to feed the girls. A few times we've like pushed that out and it just doesn't end very well for us.
Half an hour earlier and they end up getting up an extra time in the middle of the night, and half an hour later and they're both absolutely screaming and just
everyone's overtired and so it sounds quite structured, but it's not really. We just sort of pick and choose when we go out and do things. And
sort of listening to the kids' cues as well. Like you can tell pretty quickly if they're hungry or tired, and we know we need to have a bit of a break of what we're doing and deal with that. But
alright, Matthew's got a few questions. Matthew, we need to catch up on the road sometime. He's got a cool Bailey rangefinder, which I've not seen one in person, but I like the look of them, so I'd be quite keen to see yours. Also, congratulations on your new baby on the way. You asked a few questions. First one was travelling with babies and where they sleep. So they currently sleep side by side in the middle bunk. Harvey sleeps down on the bottom bunk. We kind of are going to have to keep reassessing how they sleep and how we secure them, because they used to lay in cocoons side by side, or kind of on an angle like that in the middle bunk, and we use the top bunk for storage. Now they sleep in their own cots at home, so
it's a bit tricky in winter as well because they've got those great big sleep sacks on, and we don't really want them sharing a bed with those in case one of them gets underneath the other one. So they don't fit the cocoons anymore and they're rolling now, so we've had to put up a baby rail, and we're going to have to figure something out now that the weather's a bit colder and they've got their big sleep sacks on.
We also don't want to put Harvey on the top bunk as much as he'd like to climb up and down the ladder, because
he rolls a lot.
He rolls a lot. It does have a rail at the top, but I could see him falling out of it, and it's quite far and it's a hard floor, so maybe the middle bunk. But then the middle bunk's quite handy for us because if we've got the girls in our arms and we put them to sleep, we kind of slide them into the bunk. If we had to duck down at floor level and put them in the bottom bunk, I think we're just going to keep reassessing it as we go.
We just keep trying different things until we find something that works. We definitely need to get some safety nets for the middle and the top bunks, though. Regardless of what we're doing, there's going to be kids in them at some point, and they're not safe currently.
Matthew also asks, is the caravan suitable for babies, storage-wise and water-wise with the tanks? So far it is,
Did we get an extra water tank put in when we bought it?
We did, so we opted for a second freshwater tank We do use a bit of water. We obviously got more dishes, bottles, that sort of thing. So we do use a bit of fresh water. Obviously got to wash the kids as well, so that uses more water. If you saw the full tour video that we did of the caravan, which I'll link somewhere at the top, we opted for the shorter model of our Jayco with the east-west bed like that, rather than a north-south bed that's an island bed. We opted for the one that goes across, and that becomes a play gym during the day for the girls. Basically, because they can only fall off one side, you can actually sit on the bed with your legs across, and the rest of the bed's theirs to play around on. So
a lot better than the island bed where there's 3 edges that they could roll off.
Yeah, the island bed's obviously a bit easier to get in and out of, but that and the table, so we got the L-shaped dinette instead of the booth seating, and so we can fit more kids around it. Our table also moves like this, so we can kind of put Harvey in the corner and move the table towards him for activities and things. So I think it's definitely, it's good, it's suitable for kids. We do use our water quite quickly if we shower every day. We've got a little roll-away 40-litre tank, so we can dump some of our onboard grey tank into that tank, and often we'll just put it in the car when we're out and about, empty it, so it's not a big deal.
Or if we're at a campground or a beach, we'll often just shower there rather than showering in the caravan. Yeah,
good point. And finally from Matthew, how old were the twins when you first started travelling? I think they were 2 months old.
2 months when we picked up Rosy 3.
Yeah.
We probably would have travelled with them earlier. I know we were going a bit stir crazy waiting for it to arrive.
It was actually on order, and we delayed it because of the girls.
We were expecting a bit of a lengthy hospital stay with them because twins, they're unpredictable and often come quite early. But ours were fine, so we were expecting to be at home for quite a while with them, but in hindsight we could have gotten out about a lot earlier.
With Harvey as well, he was maybe 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks older when we took him to that
first rally.
The rally, in the middle of winter in Taupo, which is probably a silly idea because we
in the old bus as well, which was freezing.
We had a gas heater in that bus that we just had on constantly. And as soon as you turn it off, it was cold. And Harvey actually slept in a basket on top of the stove in the sink. But yeah, we just kind of figure we'll get them into it early and make the effort.
Yeah, and when they're new, they sleep a lot as well, and it's easier. You know, it's a lot easier when they're newborn compared to when they're eating solids.
Yeah, that's true. Another couple of questions from Shalom Weston. How do you guys afford to do this full time?
We don't.
We don't. I currently work we have a house here in Taupo, which is in the middle of the North Island of New Zealand. I work for an IT company remotely. Chelsea also works for the same company. And we basically just spend our spare money on travelling. We don't make much money off YouTube at all. You might see ads play at the start of some of our videos. I think last month we made like $30 or something. So that doesn't pay our bills at all.
No.
We work, we travel, we try and like save up leave and sort of take like long weekends off. Because we're in the middle of the island, there's a lot of places we can go that's like a couple of hours that way or that way or that way. So we just tend to do that and take you guys along. The other question from Shalom was, can you guys do a video on internet connection while traveling on the road? We definitely can. It's something we are going to set up in the caravan. To date, we've just hotspot off the phone for internet. We don't use heaps while we're traveling. I do most of the editing when we get back to the house anyway, so we're not like, doing a lot on the road. So
when we go full time, it'll definitely be something we need to get connected. So stay tuned for that.
We've got a couple options, like you can buy like wireless, internet, like Wireless Nation, a popular brand here in New Zealand. Our caravan or the Jaycos come fitted with a Sphere wireless unit. It's in one of the cupboards, and all you do is buy a SIM card and pop a SIM card in the side, and then you set that up as your Wi-Fi access point. So you can get like a cheap prepaid, unlimited wireless or some sort of cap. And so we'll look at doing something like that in the future, and we'll definitely do a video on it for you. Deborah also asked a similar question: is your modem hardwired or plugged in? The one that we have currently is hardwired in. There's just a switch to turn the Wi-Fi on and off. It's screwed into the cupboard wall. if you go for like one of those other options where you need to plug a modem in, you normally just need a cigarette lighter plug, which we've got one behind the television, so we could easily install something there. How many 12 volt connections do you have? That's one really strange thing in our caravan, is we have 240 volt plugs throughout the whole caravan. There's loads of them. As far as USB plugs go, there's one in each bunk, and there's also a cigarette socket in each bunk, in case your kids have like 5 devices they need to charge at once for some reason. But for us up the front, there's no USB plugs by the bed. They're actually under the table at like just above the floor. It's kind of a strange design. We looked at a lot of caravans at the Covey show, and they all seem to have bedside, like his and hers USB ports.
Yeah. And I know the north-south bed in our one had them on the sides of the master bed. Yeah. But the east-west one doesn't. So I don't know.
We've got kind of like where our head of our bed is, we've got like a little ledge and cubbies, like storage cubbies, and there is 240 volt plugs in there, but no USB plugs. So at some stage I'm probably going to rewire those or run an extension, because it's kind of the one time a day you need to charge stuff, and charging stuff on the floor with kids isn't ideal, like camera batteries and that sort of thing.
The first thing the babies are drawn to is cables, so you don't really want them.
Yeah, I'm not sure of why it's designed like that, but we also have a couple of those battery packs that you charge up, and then we just put those on our bedside ledge and charge our phones off that. Alright, I will read this one from Hanging in there, but given that it can become a bit obsessive and overtake family time, do you predetermine what you're going to film and how much time to devote to it, or just film it as it comes? It's a good question. We kind of try and...
We don't want the filming to overtake family time. So if we're going to do something for the day, we kind of try and film it as we go without it affecting too much what we're actually doing.
Yeah.
It kind of defeats the point if it becomes the reason for doing something.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're quite wary about families first, and if we can film it without it interrupting, then cool.
Yeah, so sometimes like if you see like a sunrise or a sunset or something, like often I'll just nip out, set up a camera and jump back in bed, or we'll fly the drone, but Harvey loves the drone as well, so we, that sort of thing. But we try and not let it get in the way too much, or like, that's why often there's not maybe as much polish as you'd think on the videos, because it's just like the first take, we're not going to go like, oh wait, can you pretend you're really interested in that waterfall and I'll get a cool shot, it's just kind of like, pull the camera out and get a couple shots and then figure it out later on when we edit it. So we're conscious of it, but I don't think it's a problem now.
No, it hasn't been an issue.
Yeah. For me, I know when we first started traveling and before Harvey came, Chelsea would just sit around and read books all day, and Rosy, she's the sort of person that loves to sit on a beach.
When I had time to do that.
Yeah, pre-kids. But I kind of liked to do something when we're there, and that the camera really helped, to like get out and about and do stuff, and kind of, I guess that was kind of my downtime and my creative outlet when we were traveling. Bit different now with the kids, there's a bit less time for that, but
the filming now becomes a family thing in its own right, like Harvey does love it as well, and I help out where I can too. And then it's cool for him to be able to watch them back. He loves seeing himself on TV when Bronson's finished editing one of them. And
like family and friends as well, watch and see what the kids are up to.
And he likes looking back at things that we did with him as a baby that he doesn't remember, but he can see it all on YouTube. So it's
documenting it, and instead of taking photos, we're taking video. Yeah, good question. So the rest of that question from Hanging in there, with the drone shots of Rosy on the move. Sorry, I don't know anything about how drones work. Are you operating from inside Rosy, or do you have it set up somewhere while one of you drives by? And are there many restrictions on drones in New Zealand? I guess back in the day you would have seen a lot of like drone shots of us driving, especially the East Cape. Chelsea would jump in the driver's seat. I'd sit in the passenger seat with the drone and just pilot it, because you can fly quite far with them. Technically that is breaking the laws, because you're legally supposed to be able to see the drone with your own eyes at all times. We don't do that so much in the caravan anymore.
No.
But yeah, that's how we got some of those cool shots of us driving through the country. And 20 minutes battery, just follow along. That's how actually I crashed the drone once. I was telling Chelsea to slow down. She had a whole lot of cars behind her, and I was speeding to try and catch up, and the battery ran out, and the drone fell out of the sky into a paddock in the middle of nowhere. So managed to find it, but yeah, that
was a stressful day.
yeah, bit of money and repairs on that. I don't think I've flown it since.
Oh, really?
Chasing the motorhome. No. We tend to just fly it wherever we are. As far as rules in New Zealand, you have to have landowner permission of where you're flying. A lot of councils will let you fly in parks and reserves. Can't fly over people. Can't fly higher than 400 feet. Can't fly within 10 kilometres of an airport unless it's shielded. Yeah.
That covers a lot of Taupo because you've got the helipads for Hooker Falls, and you've got the airport out by where we live, but also the lake is considered an airport because of the float planes
and the hospital as well.
Yeah.
So we've got kind of an airport, like tourism people flying here, hospital here, and all those 10k radiuses all overlap.
Yeah.
So yeah, you won't see heaps of drone shots in built up areas in New Zealand. We shouldn't, because there are laws and fines for that sort of thing here.
And a lot of the dock sites and iwi owned land as well, you shouldn't be seeing drone shots of that.
Yeah, the national parks you can't fly in here.
No.
Because of bird life and that sort of thing. And it's a bit of a noise nuisance as well to people. It's a cool way to get some cool shots, but you really have to pick and choose where you are and where you get those shots. All right, another good question from hanging in there. Could you tell us something about Chelsea's clothing business that you touched on the Martinborough market videos?
Well, it was a few years back now. I made some clothes for my nieces and quite enjoyed it. So I thought I would start making some to sell. Had a little business, Monarch Children's Wear, and it went for maybe 3 years. I was just bringing out a different collection each season and making up a bunch of them, and I'd go to the local Taupo markets and Martinborough twice a year as well, and I had a website that I sold most of it through the website. As Harvey came along, I had less time to put into it, and we were kind of thinking we would wrap it up once we had a second baby on the way. In two minds about it at that point, but then we found out it was twins coming, and we were like, yep, it's time to shut that down. So
it was a lot of time for you.
It was, yeah, and it became a bit of a chore rather than a fun thing that I was doing, you know, as anything creative tends to be when you try and make a living from it. So it was good while it lasted. It was good fun. And
those Martinborough, so we'd go down twice a year to the Martinborough Fair, which was probably 4 or 5 hour drive for us, maybe a bit longer.
It was a hard weekend.
Yeah, it would fill the back of Rosy with all Chelsea's market stuff and tables and all the equipment and everything. But it was quite fun.
It was worth it as well. Yeah. It was a very good market.
Yeah, it was a busy weekend.
Really long day. We'd you'd have people coming through from 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. Just constant stream of people. So it was a really good way to get the name out there and clear out a bunch of product. But it was a
long weekend for sure.
we were pretty tired by the end of it.
Yeah. All right, another question. Which town has the best coffee? You've probably seen a lot of coffee drinking shots in our videos. It's one of my hobbies, is drinking coffee. Probably locally here in Taupo, when my sister and her husband worked here in a cafe. And they would make really good filter coffee. Kokaku was the brand of coffee, really good. They've since moved, which is a bit disappointing. So I try and replicate the same thing at home with not as much luck. But yeah, there's pretty decent coffee throughout New Zealand.
I'm on the decaf, so I don't have much options. But
yeah,
Kokaku does a good decaf.
Yeah. All right. Do we have an awning, and how often do we use it? We've got an awning.
Yep. Rosy 3 has a nice little electric one. Push a button, it goes out. It's got lights on it.
Yeah.
It's pretty flash compared to the last couple that we've had. We definitely don't use it as much as we should. Often when we're back at the caravan during the day, we're busy doing something like sorting the kids out with food or getting them down for a sleep. So we're actually doing something inside the van, and then once we've got that done, we go out and go do something away from the caravan typically. So we don't actually spend a lot of time hanging out outside the van.
We often put it out just for the sun.
For shade, yeah.
Maybe when the girls are older and walking around.
Harvey likes setting up his little camp chair out there and sitting under there and eating his lunch. But
yeah, we don't tend to. I mean, we've got quite nice big windows in there as well, and all the windows in the Jayco Caravans have mosquito nets that come up. So often we just open all the windows up, and it's kind of just as nice.
Yeah. Sitting
inside. Oh, and that was part 2 of that same question. Do we set up much outside the caravan? Aside from a few chairs, we don't really, eh?
No, there's a little fold-down table that comes out of the side of the caravan that we'll flip down every now and then and have a little afternoon tea out there. Some wine and cheese and crackers. And
put a mat out for the girls to sort of roll around on. Yeah, we eat some meals outside.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably not as much as we should. All right, really good question. Is the shower and water supply enough for 5 people? I think it is. It seems to work. Our grey water tank, we've obviously got half the capacity in the grey water tank, so that fills up quicker. But yeah, we probably need to empty the tank maybe every 3 days at the moment, eh?
It might be different once the kids get a bit older. At the moment, the girls don't really shower much.
No, it's true. Yeah, I think if you had 5, like if you had 3 teenagers or 3, if 5 of us were showering every day. I mean, some days we just won't have a shower. We'll just have a quick one in the evening or something.
Or go for a swim instead. So.
Or shower at a campground.
Yeah.
The water is decent, but we do fill that grey tank. We do have to connect our portable tank up and dump a bit into there from time to time. But it's definitely a step up from what we had in the past.
Yeah. It's just something that you kind of always have in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
When you're showering.
You're not showering for 10 minutes.
No.
You're kind of getting in and getting out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's got enough water. All right. And the final question is, what are your plans for the South Island? Currently, not many.
No. We kind of just thought, Bronson's mum wanted to next summer go down to the Abel Tasman and do some of the walks around there. So we kind of thought during the summer we would go down there as well and travel around the top of the South Island for a bit, maybe for a couple of months, and meet up with them for the walk. But aside from that, no plans. It'll probably largely depend on whether we take the dogs with us or not, because that can be quite limiting as to where you can stay and what you can do. A lot of the beautiful dock sites down there you can't have dogs at because of the native wildlife, so that's something we need to have a think about.
There are loads of those NZMCA parks that I'm always banging on about because I love them. They're $3 a night. They have everything we need. There's loads of them dotted all over the South Island, so we'd probably loosely make a plan around some of those. Like Jazzy said, the Department of Conservation campgrounds are also really beautiful, but not all of them allow dogs for good reasons. So I think that's something we'll work on in the coming months. If you've been down there and you've got a recommendation, let us know. We definitely want to go west and the east coasts. They look really beautiful. Probably Christchurch up, I guess the top half of the South Island. And we don't want to drive all the way down to the bottom, turn around and drive all the way back.
We'll do it at some point, just not yet.
Yeah. We got a few months ahead of us to plan.
Well, thank you for sending in your questions. I hope we answered everything for you.
Yeah, if we didn't answer something adequately, please let us know down below. We'll reply to your comment. We love staying in touch with you guys, so if you're ever watching a video and you want to know something, anything at all, just ask away in the comments. We enjoy interacting with you guys. Same thing on Facebook, Instagram. We've different stuff going on those platforms, so come along for the adventure.
And once this lockdown is lifted, we hope to see you guys out on the road somewhere.
Stay safe out there. We're probably going to, as we sort of grow a bit, we want to do a few live streams with some people and interact with you guys that way. And also, if you guys are out and about in New Zealand and we're out and about, just reach out to us.
Yeah.
And let's meet up and hang out.
If you see us parked up, come knock on our door and say hi.
Yeah, definitely.
We got the stickers, you'll know it's us.
Yeah, if you're stuck behind us in traffic, you'll see the big sticker on the back of the caravan. All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.
See ya.